Good morning, Knicks Nation. Today is Tuesday. It is August the 2nd, 2022. I hope you're safe and healthy today. I hope that you and your family are safe and healthy and that the needs of you and your family in terms of food and shelter and clothing as well as health are being met today. Blessings upon those that work in the healthcare field along with the first responders that are out here every day trying to save lives. And those that pick up garbage for us to keep streets and sidewalks and parks and highways clean. And those that make delivery of important things that we take for granted, like food for our convenience. Double blessings on the men and women that are trying to help rescue, deliver, recover the victims, the teenagers and children that are the victims of child molestation and pedophilia, that are out here trying to help recover the victims of prostitution and child prostitution, pornography, child pornography, human trafficking, sex slavery, and double curses on the perpetrators, the profiteers, and those perverts that are out here trafficking in this human misery. Finally, blessings upon the homeless, nearly 600,000 men, women, and children on the streets of the United States of America, living in the streets, and millions around the world in similar or worse conditions, and blessings upon them. For theirs is the kingdom, and if you can help them, please do so. Today, I want to talk about one of the reasons, regardless of what happens in terms of Donovan Mitchell, regardless, I am excited about Mitchell Robinson. Now, I will give a disclaimer. Him and Deuce McBride are my boys. Those are my favorite Knicks. Deuce, depending on what happens with D Rose, he might be buried on the bench this year. People don't believe in him, and that's all good. I don't care. That's my man. I think he's got star qualities. I'm not worried about it. But Mitchrob, Tom Thibodeau, loved Mitchrob. Mitchrob is the starting center. There is no doubt about that. I was looking back over the last 11 years, actually. I went back to 2012. And I was looking at all of the fives that have been drafted. And I was evaluating what they were like since, they've been the top tens. Now, I will say this. There's one guy that I feel is the gold standard for fives in this generation. And we'll talk about him. He is the gold standard. He's different from everybody else. There's always a guy that's the exception. People always try to look at the exception as if it's the rule because they just want to be right about something or whatever. But this guy's the exception. He's not the rule. But let's look. In 2012, Anthony Davis was drafted number 1 overall. Now, I don't think anybody will doubt his talent. Obviously, he was drafted number 1 overall. But I think everybody also can concede that he's been hurt a lot. And this is a theme with all big men with some exceptions. This is a theme. They, especially in the modern game, they're hurt a lot. Elbows, feet, knees, back. So one of the things I've learned from watching this list and looking at the game over the last 11, 12 years, don't expect your big man to play 80 games. If you can get 70 out of him, good. Okay? And you don't want to push it. I don't know what it is, if it's the size, with all of that, but they just don't play a lot. Most big men, they get hurt a lot. Okay? All of them. With, again, some exceptions. So don't throw the exceptions at me as if they're the rule. But in the modern game, the big men, are more injury prone than in past years. That same draft, at number 9, Detroit picked Andre Drummond. Andre Drummond is a rugged dude, been hurt a few times, put up big numbers on the, and that's the thing, who you want from your 5. Obviously rim protection, defense, and you want him to put up some rebound. You want some boards, okay? Because if you can win, especially the offensive boards, you have a chance to win the game. Andre Drummond's an elite rebounder, but he has not been the game changer that you expect that somebody drafted ninth overall. Then you go to 2013 and you have Alex Len. We can move on, right? And you have Nerlens Noel, Cody Zeller. 2014, top 10. You had at the 5 spot, you had Joel Embiid. Now, obviously MVP candidate. He missed his first 2 seasons for injury. This past season was actually the most games he's ever played in a season. And how many did he play? Was it 70? No, it was 68. He's always hurt. When he plays, he's like what we used to, label like the Jaguar car. The Jaguar, I don't know how it runs now, but back in the day when I was growing up, when you run in the Jaguar, it's the smoothest thing you ever seen. Smoothest thing you ever rode in. When it's cleaned up, sweet. Problem is, it spends most of his time in the shop. And it's very expensive to fix because you got to get the parts from England, right? That's Joel Embiid. Tremendous MVP level play when he's playing. Hurt a lot. Okay, hurt a lot. That's him. Okay, and that guy was 2014. 2015. Karl Anthony Towns. Now he could play 4 or 5, but let's count him as a 5. I'd say pretty durable. I haven't looked at his game stats, and again, elite talent, 3-point shooter, defense. He's a deal. Minnesota's been a losing team for his whole career, but that's hopefully going to change because he's got some talent around him now. We're going to see. So I guess the jury's still out on him in terms of his effectiveness in winning. That's the thing. Then, of course, that same draft, you had Jahlil Okafor, bust. Then you had Kristaps Porzingis, who I wouldn't call him a bust, but I think we can agree he's injury prone. These guys like that, you can only play them like 20 minutes a game because if you play them more than that, they're going to be in street clothes, right? Then you have Willie Cauley-Stein, bust. Frank Kaminsky, enough said. Let's move on. 2016. I'm looking at 2016 Dragan Bender, bust. Okay. Marquise Chris, bust. Jacob Poeltl, solid. Drafted 9th overall. Not a superstar, but totally solid. Totally solid. Drafted by Toronto. Ended up in San Antonio. Totally solid. Okay. Then 2017. As far as top 10, you had Zach Collins, bust. You had Lauri Markkanen. Jury's still out. Not a superstar, though. And then you had Jonathan Isaac. He's hurt. Jury's still out. He's a championship piece. And that's what I'm saying. As I'm looking at these guys, instead of looking at them as a guy that's going to take over and lead you to the chip, we got to look at him as a piece toward a chip. A piece. And Jonathan Isaac, I feel, is a piece toward a chip. He's just on a really bad team. And then, of course, as a lot of big men, he got hurt, right? He could play 4 or 5. 2018, you had really Mo Bamba and Wendell Carter in the top 10 that played the 5. You have Jaren Jackson Jr., but he's a 4. Marvin Bagley's a 4. But you have Mo Bamba. Jury's still out on Mo Bamba, right? Because he come into a team where he had like 1 million centers. And now, he's just re-signed with them. Hopefully he's going to get more minutes. And we'll see what Mo Bamba can do. So the jury's still out on Mo Bamba. And then there's Wendell Carter. He's hurt a lot. For 2018, I think he's been hurt every year. Okay. And so, wrist, thumb, something. Okay. Again, they get hurt a lot. Okay. Wendell Carter got talent, but he hurt a lot. In fact, him and Mo Bamba are now on the same team, as we know, right? So, hurt a lot. Jury's still out. I always liked Wendell Carter's game. I always like him as a piece to a really good team. And let's see how Orlando develops. They're a young team, and they just got a big deal with Paolo Banchero. He's another winning type piece. So we have to see how this, works out all together. Just realizing how dark it is. Sorry about that, y'all. Let me just put this other light on, see if we can get some more light. Let there be light up in this piece. There you go. Okay. Sorry about that. So we have Paolo Banchero coming to that team, so things could change. So I don't want to judge them too quickly. But, like I said, neither of them are dominant as far as Mo Bamba or Wendell Carter. Otherwise, they'd have been doing it already. But I'm still thinking that they are championship pieces. I know, a lot of people can't see it because they're always into what they can see right now. And that's one of the things I've learned about basketball fans in general, though a lot of y'all that are serious basketball fans, and of course some content creators understand what development is, but most of y'all don't. Most of y'all look at it what it is and say, "Oh man, he stink." You don't understand what he's going to be in 2 or 3 seasons, right? And so, like I said, the jury is still out on a guy like a Mo Bamba. We don't know yet. And Wendell Carter, we'll find out more as their team develops. But I feel like Carter, especially, is a championship piece. And when I say that, he will make everybody around him better. He's fundamentally sound. He does everything pretty well, right? Nothing tremendous, but everything well enough. He doesn't make a lot of mistakes, and that's going to help you in playoffs, right? So I feel like he's got that potential, and I think because of that, Orlando is upward trending, especially with Paolo Banchero, because Banchero, I believe, to me, was the best player in this past draft and a game changer. A game changer, man, for real. So, on the level of a Scotty Barnes, because I feel like Scotty Barnes is also a championship piece, a game changer. See, not everybody needs to be, as I'm going to name the player that I'm telling you is a game changer. Not everybody's that level, or like a LeBron or like a, Kobe. Not everybody's Magic. Not everybody's that level. But what you're looking for, if you could get them, is a piece. Somebody that's going to be there for you, especially in the playoffs. Somebody that's going to show up. Somebody that fits the team, that flows well with the team. Okay? Let's continue. 2019. Jackson Hayes was drafted 8th overall by New Orleans. Again, jury's still out. We're getting closer to our own time, so jury's still out on some of these kids. You're going to see them still on their rookie deals. Jackson Hayes is talented. He runs the floor, 7 feet tall, rim protection, athletic. So jury's still out on him. Don't know. He's not starting on New Orleans right now, but jury's still out on him. And then 2020, you had Onyeka Okongwu. You had James Wiseman. Wiseman at this point has been a disappointment. Why? Because he's been hurt, right? And then Okongwu, who I thought was the better 5 that year, he's playing behind Clint Capella. Okay. And he hasn't been able to overtake Clint Capella. But then again, he's just turning 21, 22. So let's see what happens. All right. Now you go to 2021 and you have at the 5 spot. I don't think there were any 5s. Oh, wait. Game changer chosen in that one. Evan Mobley. He has potential to be one of the best in the last 11 years. To me, Mobley. He only played like 68, 69 games last year. Rookie year. Okay, solid. 15, 16 points a game. But he does everything. And he does some things really well. Rim protection is elite. He has the potential to be, he's not right now, but he has the potential to be an elite 3-point shooter. Can run without the ball, move without the ball, handle the ball, pass the ball, rebound the ball. And the thing is, which one of the themes you're going to find with guys like him, he has a point guard. He has a point guard, a real point guard, Darius Garland. Okay, so does Onyeka Okongwu and Clint Capella. They got a point guard. So does Joel Embiid. He got a point guard. You get what I'm saying? Then this past season, we had Chet Holmgren at the 5 spot. He was really the only 5 selected in the top 10. And let me tell you something right now. Today is August the 2nd. That's why I put some of these dates on here so you can go back and see what I said. If you get 50 games out this dude, that's going to be a lot this year. See, Chet Holmgren is skilled, talented. I mean, really skilled, like game-changing skilled, like a championship piece skilled. But brother, we've seen this before. Marcus Camby. We've seen it before with Kristaps Porzingis. Bruh, I'm trying to tell y'all, if you get 50 games out of this dude, and if you get more, I'm going to tell you what, they cut his minutes. You want a guy like, again, this is no different than it's been in the past with guys like this. You're going to need to make sure you're not playing them heavy minutes. Like Tom Thibodeau would kill a guy like this. Let me be real, right? But you gotta really monitor his minutes. And if you like I always said about, like Marcus Camby, I always said about him, if you could play him 20 minutes a game, he would not only give you 82 games, but he'd be a championship piece. Okay. Chet Holmgren is like that. Don't play him a lot of minutes. If you start playing him 30 minutes a game, you're not getting 50 games out of him. If you limit his minutes, 20 minutes, you got a good shot at maximizing what he could do for you. Okay. With all of the skills that he has. It's interesting. It's going to be interesting to see how OKC handles him, this year coming up. Because to me, if it was me, I would be, limiting his minutes. Either he might start because he's the number 2 overall pick. You picked him as your first pick at OKC. I'd start him. But I'm telling you, 5 minutes a quarter, and even less if I want to save him for the fourth quarter, because you don't want to ruin this kid. And I'm telling you, that's what you're dealing with him. Just looking at all of the rest. Okay. Big men get hurt a lot. Now, the exception to all of this is the Joker. Look, man, the Joker, man, 2-time MVP, drafted in the second round. If you can get a dude in the second round that could play, even just a starter in the second round, you're doing something. Never mind a 2-time MVP. Now look, the Joker now is going into age 27 year. The dude last year, 27 points a game, 14 boards a game, 8 assists a game. I mean, who would have known? He's 6'11", like 280 pounds of dough. It ain't like he's chiseled or anything. And dude got IQ off the charts, right? Last year, what did he shoot? He shot 34%. No. Wait, what did he shoot from 3? I'm trying to get his 3-point. No, he shot 34% from 3. I mean, that's not bad on 4 attempts for a dude that's big like that. And some nights we know he could kill you from 3. And look, he played 74 games last year, 72 years for that, 73, 80, 75, 73, 80. You ain't catching that from nobody. Ain't no 5 doing that. Ain't no 5 doing that. Okay? And this, with his point guard, Jamal Murray, hurt. He's the exception. Okay? This is the exception right here. The Joker. That's why he's the 2-time MVP. Okay? That's why he's a 2-time MVP. He ain't had no point guard last year. And they still won 48 games. That's a game changer right there. Okay? To me, for the last 12 years, between him, maybe Cat, and the future of maybe Mobley, and then of course MB, who's hurt a lot, but talent-wise, game changer-wise, to me, he's the top of the pile, man. I mean, his team's winning. Okay? So, that's the gold standard. So let's leave that alone. And some of you in Knick Nation going to look at NBA 2K and say, maybe we can go after him. No, we can't go after him. This is a dude. See, you got to understand. The Joker's a dude that if Denver ever wins a championship, bruh is going to be with John Elway in Denver. Like, he could run for governor if he wanted. It's like that. It's like that. Okay? So, yeah, he's staying in Denver. Unless somebody tick him off, but he owned Denver. He ain't going nowhere. Okay? So, yeah, forget that. So let's talk now about Mitchell Robinson. So all we've been talking about, what I'm saying about Mitchrob is, first of all, this is his 5th season. He's 24. He has never played with a real point guard. I mean, somebody that's going to look for him, keep their head up, somebody that's going to catch him running the floor. Him and Obi in the same boat in that regard. And yet, you got a dude like in Mitchell Robinson, right? This past season, he had a game against the Jazz and Rudy Gobert. We had 19 points, 21 boards, 3 blocks. He had a game, I'm looking over here, he had a game against the Celtics, 11 points, 17 boards, 3 assists, 2 blocks. I mean, he had a game, 17 points, 14 boards. I mean, this is just this past season. No point guard. No point guard. So look, what I'm saying to y'all is, we have a point guard. Not only do we have a point guard, I'm not even including Derrick Rose. I'm talking about Jalen Brunson, Emmanuel Quickley, and Dispute Bride. We got point guards. And Mitchrob, I'm expecting some things from him because you know what's also going to help him? Mitchell Robinson, as you've seen, every summer he shoots, he shows you these videos where he's shooting from three, but he never pulls it in the game, right? Let me tell you something. But I'm not saying Hartenstein is a threat to take his spot. That's not the case. No. But Hartenstein shoots the three. Hartenstein will inspire Mitchrob to try to shoot, I believe. And I'm not looking for Mitchrob to be a three-point shooter. I'm looking for Mitchrob to just get a mid-range, little jump hook, little 10-foot, 12-foot jumper, 5-foot jumper. If he does that, it's a wrap. This cat, I'm expecting big things because of the point guard. Guys gonna look for him because not only is Jalen Brunson a point guard, but he's a heady point guard. Like he's smart, like he's high IQ. Because Mitchrob has learned from the year DeAndre Ayton was here for that half a season. He learned how to anchor a defense, how to call out the defense, and he does it very well now. He stayed out of foul trouble his last 2 seasons. He's learned, like I told you, it takes a rookie center 2 or 3 seasons to learn how to stay out of foul trouble. Every rookie center, especially the athletic ones. And so he's learned that. Now, if we could just keep him healthy. He played 72 games this past year. And some of y'all was tripping because he was talking about 15 million was too much. I don't know what some of y'all are thinking. 15 million in today's NBA ain't no money. I mean, it's money for an established guy, and Mitch is an established guy. But Mitchrob, to me, the most important thing about him. See, I mentioned DeAndre Ayton. He destroyed DeAndre Ayton. He destroyed Rudy Gobert. Okay? And now he regularly handling Joel Embiid. Let me tell you something, man. You get this boy in the playoffs. Get Mitchrob in the playoffs with a point guard. See, because this is the type of dude he is. If you don't double him on the offensive glass, he's going to kill you. He might get 20 boards on you. He's capable of blocking 6-7 shots in the game. He's done it. Okay, he's done it. He's capable of doing it. He runs the floor like a gazelle, and if you got your head up, you will get some easy baskets. And of course, if you do allow him to get offensive boards, you're going to be seeing him flush it with his knees up all over you. Okay, because that's what Mitchrob does. Now, does he have holes that need to be fixed? Yeah, he could set a better pick. Okay, I'll give you that. He could set a better pick. His free throw shooting needs work. Yeah. But the thing I like about him is that those 2 things, he's got the talent to improve them. Especially when he knows you're looking for him. See, a big man loves. Some of y'all that have played big men before, they love when the point guard is looking for them. When they run in the floor and they're not running in vain. They know that the point guard going to find them if they're open. Big men get excited about that, and their whole game goes to another level. Why do you think Chris Paul makes every big man he plays with look better? Same with the leprechaun down there in Atlanta. They make everybody, the big men, run. Onyeka Okongwu has played with the leprechaun, and he's also played with James Harden, and he's played with Chris Paul. That's why he got 90 million. Let Mitchrob get a taste of that. And he's going to, okay? Now, I'm not saying Jalen Brunson is Chris Paul. He's not James Harden, right? He's not them guys, but he's going to see the floor. And what I like about if we do trade Randall, one thing that I can tell you for sure, the Knicks will run more because you're going to have Obi Toppin, who's a gazelle, Mitchell Robinson. You're going to have RJ, who loves to run also. And you're going to have point guards that see the floor. See, if they start Quentin Grimes, he sees the floor. He will throw the ball the length of the court. When you get 5 or 6 easy baskets like that in the game, man, your percentage of winning, the chance of winning goes up tremendously. When you get 5 or 6 easy baskets because your big men are running the floor and your point guard sees them. See, that's the thing the Knicks have been missing for Mitchrob's whole career. They had a point guard that sees the floor and catches him running. Same with Obi. Okay? You catch these athletic dudes on the wing running, and then you know on the set offense, on half court, You have to watch Mitchell Robinson. If you don't, he's going to kill you. He's one of the top 2 offensive rebounders in the NBA. That's facts. I'm not even talking about opinion. That's statistical fact. And now he's 24. This is the thing that makes me excited. Because he's not only a championship piece. He's not a dude that's going to regularly, like, he's not the Joker, okay? But you put him with a point guard. Don't get him in the playoffs. Because he can win you a couple of games in the play. Every win in the playoffs is big. Everyone. Okay? That's why Jalen Brunson won me over. See, some of y'all remember early in the year, I didn't want Jalen Brunson. I definitely didn't want Jalen Brunson. I did not want him. I wanted the keys to be given to Deuce McBride, and I wanted us to sink or swim with him, give us a couple of years going through his mistakes and let him play. That's what I wanted. But when Jalen Brunson dropped 40 in a playoff game against the Jazz, to me, that won me over. NBA playoffs are the hardest game in the world, period, end of story. There is no game of basketball more difficult to win and play than the NBA playoffs. This is the league at the highest level. And that brother dropped 40 in a playoff game. Without Luka, he won me. That was it right there. So what I'm saying to you is, you add him, and I'm telling you, Mitchrob is a piece. RJ is a piece. Obi is a piece. The thing about Randall now, and I'm not trying to crap on Randall. Randall, somebody described it very well yesterday. I heard some geeky dude describe it on the channel yesterday. I forgot who he was. Honestly, I forgot. I will tell you who he was because I want to give him the credit. I can't remember who he was. But anyway, what he said was, homie said, there's 82 game dudes and there's 16 game dudes. And what he was saying is there's dudes that are really good during the 82 game season. Then there are dudes that are really good during the 16 game season, the playoffs. That's the 16 game season. Randall's an 82 game guy. Like, he gets you 20-10, 82 games. But we seen what happened in the playoffs. He's not that 16 game dude. That's not him. His mental makeup is not such. Mitchell Robinson's a 16 game dude. Jalen Brunson's a 16 game dude. RJ Barrett's a 16 game dude. Obi Toppin's a 16 game dude. I believe Grimes is too. In fact, dude was talking about Grimes when he said it, and I agree with him. That was an astute observation. So I'm saying, we have potential. And Mitchell Robinson, I'm expecting him with a full-time point guard, whether it be Jalen Brunson or coming in Emmanuel quickly or Deuce. I'm not counting D Rose right now because I'm still believing they're going to move D Rose. I just feel it. I would be shocked if D Rose is on the team in October. I'm not saying I'm not hating on D Rose, former MVP, talented, older, part-time really right now, but I'd be shocked if he was on the team in training camp. So I'm really not counting him. If we get him, okay, that's going to bury my man Deuce, but it is what it is. But I'm be shocked with that $14.5 million. That's cap space. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see what happens. And they got to re-sign RJ for the, next year. So anyway, we'll see what happens. That's a different thing. That's why you don't hear me talking a lot about D Rose right now. I'm not saying he's done. I'm not saying he washed. I'm saying for the Knicks right now, I want Deuce to get some minutes, man. I know RQ gonna get hit. I want Deuce to get his, and obviously Jalen Brunson gonna get hit. I want to see Deuce get some. But it doesn't matter. Even if it's D Rose, Robinson's going to be playing with real point guards this year. There's going to be no Burks, no Elfrid Paytons. Not this year. This year he's playing with real point guards. I'm expecting all NBA defense from him this year because the boy's an anchor on the defensive end. I'm assuming he give us at least 70 games. I'm trying to hedge it, 70 games. If he can get 70 games out of Mitchrob, let's say Mitch is 12, twisted ankle, whatever. But he give us 70 good games. I'm looking at first, second, or third team all NBA defense. I'm looking at him to give me 12 to 15 points a game this year because he's got the point guard. Okay. And because they're running the floor and because you're going to have Jalen Brunson as the number one option with the ball in his hand, RJ Barrett, number 1A. And then even if you get Julius Randle on one side or Obi Toppin, that's going to open up the floor for Mitchell Robinson. Now, the thing about Julius Randle, again, I'm not trying to crap on Julius Randle, but another good thing about him is that he also commands attention on the offensive glass. When he's really engaged, he is very difficult on the glass for opponents. He's a tremendous rebounder, and that opens up stuff. And Obi is not the rebounder that Julius Randle is. He's just not. He has other parts to his game. Julius don't run the floor like Obi. Julius don't finish like Obi. Okay, but Obi don't rebound like Julius Randle. Julius Randle's a tremendous rebounder, and that puts pressure on the defense when you have a Mitchell Robinson there. So there's positives to having Randle next to Robinson. And the jury's still out as to whether we're going to have Randle or not. Some of y'all really pulling for him. Some of y'all know he's going or whatever. I kind of think it depends. It's 50-50. It's 100% sure he's leaving if we get Donovan Mitchell. It's 100% sure Julius Randle being traded. I told somebody, if Donovan Mitchell, today is Tuesday, if Donovan Mitchell was to join the Knicks today, tomorrow, Randle's wearing purple and gold. Tomorrow. Okay, that's how quickly he's going to be out of town. So, it's going to be like that. If we get Donovan Mitchell, it's 50-50 on Donovan Mitchell because the Don's not getting fleeced and Ainge, showing his behind and don't know what he's doing. He know what he's doing, but now he's stuck. And I don't know what he's going to do. Really, I don't. Nor do I care, at this point. So what I'm saying is Mitchell Robinson is going to have help on the offensive glass if Julius Randle's on the team because it's going to be difficult, okay, for opponents to handle him because you got to handle Julius because Julius does rebound the basketball very well, very, very well, okay? So he's an elite. In fact, I would call Julius an elite rebounder. He really is that tough on the boards. So, that's going to help Mitchrob. So I'm expecting Mitchrob to give us, just because he got a point guard, just because he's going to run the floor and get some easy baskets, just because he's going to, improve. I'm expecting his free throw shooting. I'm looking for 72 to 75% from the line this year for Mitchrob because he's got the talent to do that and he's going to improve. I'm looking for some things from him and he's going to be that piece. That's what I'm saying. The Knicks can win at least 45 games, even without Donovan Mitchell, because we got a point guard, because we got a coach that preaches defense, because we now have, even, without Randle, excluded Randle, we have dudes that's going to buy in to the defensive concept and philosophy and give you that effort every play, every night. Okay. That's the thing about Fournier. He can't do both ends of the floor. He's a tremendous shooter now. What do you do with a tremendous shooter that can't play defense on a consistent basis? You bring him off the bench, but we're paying him 18 mil. So I don't know. We got to see what happens. Fournier could shoot the rock. There's no doubt he's an elite shooter. Evan Fournier is an elite shooter, man. But defensively, he plays the passing lanes very well because he plays with IQ. And, not the stereotype, but European players, they play with a better IQ, generally speaking, than the American players. They play more IQ than they do athleticism. They play with a high level IQ usually. Okay, so he plays the passing lanes well, but he doesn't have the physical ability to stay in front of an NBA player, nor to cover enough ground in the team defense to not get beat. That's the problem, right? That's the problem with him Fournier. He doesn't have the physical ability. He just doesn't have it, the athleticism to cover ground, to get it on a rotation the way he's supposed to, and he doesn't really have the ability to stay in front of. Well, NBA players are hard to stay in front of, period. But he really, he's a disaster trying to play one-on-one defense. Forget it. So, that's the problem. And so when you have a Quentin Grimes that excels in both of those areas defensively, he can stay in front of NBA players, which is difficult to do, on one-on-one defense. And of course, he plays tremendous team defense and he also plays the passing lane. So that's why I'm telling y'all, Quentin Grimes is your starting two guard. Evan Fournier at 18 million. I don't know. Then you got Cam Reddish. Some of y'all thinking you could play all these guys together. I'm telling you, somebody got to go. You got a log jam. Evan Fournier ain't playing third screen for nobody. He's either going to come off a championship team's bench or playoff team's bench, or he's going to start for somebody. That's what he's going to do, but he just can't do it for us because we got Grimes. And it's time for Grimes to move to that next level, even in his second year. You want to move him there as soon as you can because I think he's going to be way better than Evan Fournier. And I'm saying something because Evan Fournier, like I said, is an elite shooter. He's an elite shooter. He's not he's an elite shooter. Okay, so that's what I'm saying. But Mitchell Robinson, with all of that around him and a point guard, the Knicks could win at least 45 games. Okay, They really can. Okay. So I'm excited to see that. I'm excited to see Brunson, Barrett, and Robinson playing together. I'm excited to see that. And I'll be excited if Grimes is playing too. As far as Randall or Obi, I don't know what's going to happen right now. I really don't. If we don't get Donovan Mitchell, then we might keep Julius Randle. Because the deal was, what we've heard from Begley is, if they get Mitchell, they'll be trading Randall. Now, some of you said, and I understand, we've been through this, why don't we just trade Randall anyway? I don't know. I don't know. I just know the Don's not giving him away because he is an elite rebounder. He has elite talent. He just doesn't have the high IQ that you'd like. But as a second or third option on a playoff team, he's going to be really good. So he's not just giving Randall away. Somebody got to pay for Randall. Ainge ain't the only one out here, trying to maximize what he gets. The Don does it too. So he's not just giving Randall away. He's trying to get something for him. And some of y'all hate your own play so much you don't think there's a market for Randall. There is. There is. It's just that we need to maximize what we can get for him. That's what it is. So I don't know what's going to happen with him. I don't know how this is going to play out. It depends, like I said, because I'm not as into the Donovan Mitchell thing as I was a couple of weeks ago because Ainge is playing the fool. I mean, he's just straight playing the fool. All right. He thought the Don was going to play a fool. And as I told y'all, and as we've all seen now, the Don ain't playing no fool. So I don't know what Ainge's going to do, whatever. So I'm trying to think in my mind, let's assume we're not getting him. Quentin Grimes is starting two guard. They're going to have to move Fournier and or Rose, even if they don't move Randall. Something's getting done. Okay. So I think they're just going to let this play out for a couple of weeks. And then we'll see how, by the end of August into September, we'll see how this works out. I think by the end of August, you'll see some things, but we'll see what happens. But Mitchell Robinson, regardless, Mitchell Robinson with Jalen Brunson and RJ Barrett is going to be a monster this year. I'm very excited to see that. I'm very excited for our New York Knicks. I'm very excited that Tom Thibodeau and Jalen Brunson, because Brunson is like a Thibodeau on the court. That's what you got to understand. Brunson is Thibodeau coach on the court, on the real. Okay? Yeah, let's do this. Let's do this. I'm looking for Mitchrob to have a big year. I'm excited for our Knicks because of it. I don't care what happens with Randall. I don't care what happens with Donovan Mitchell. If we get him, it's another story, but we'll talk about that story if it happens. Meantime, you all enjoy your Tuesday. Shalom.